Man has hunted since the beginning of time. What began with crude weapons and animal images scrawled on cave walls has developed into a multi-million-dollar industry. From the Tilton Hiltons to the mansions in the marsh, we hunt and we cook. Everything from rabbits and raccoons to deer and ducks, while learning about the passion of sportsmen through the ages. Man's love affair with hunting is really not about the kill, but how to prepare a sumptuous wild game banquet after the hunt. Now get that camouflage apron and join me, Chef John Folse, for another Taste of Louisiana.
Funding for After the Hunt with Chef John Folse is brought to you by the Baton Rouge Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Day is dawning on the Mississippi River and the sun is shining on Baton Rouge. Attractions, shopping, food, and Southern hospitality you know and love. Go BR and go brighter. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Our mission is to tell Louisiana's story to the world. And by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Vacation planning guides are available at louisianatravel.com. You wait all year for your vacation. Don't sleep through it.
How you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. How you doing, baby? Y'all doing all right? Hey, all right, all right. Those Oliviers, y'all, right here. Those Oliviers, give them a hand. Y'all, thanks to every one of you for joining me in Sportsman's Paradise today for yet another edition of A Taste of Louisiana. I'm absolutely thrilled to have all of you in the studio audience, and certainly all of you across the United States. I just wish you were here to feel the energy and smell the smoked duck in my pot. I want to also thank our musicians today in the kitchen and introduce those Oliviers over there. That's Stephen, Monica, and Frank. Give them a big hand again, y'all. Y'all, for those of you who browse the many aisles of sporting goods stores, you've probably noticed the decoys. While these modern decoys get the job done on the lakes and waterways, the history of the working decoy and the artistry of the Carvers is simply mesmerizing. Louisiana has been home to many famous carvers, such as Mitchell LaFrance, George Frederick, and of course, the world champion Brunet family. Y'all, let's take a look at some of them. Louisiana is home to some of the best waterfowl hunting in America. Our coastal wetlands, marshes, rivers, and lakes are home to mallards, pintail, teal, white-fronted geese, and snow geese abound. In Louisiana, waterfowl hunting is a passion, some would say a birthright, but equally important to this hunting tradition is the regional tradition of carving waterfowl decoys. While most decoy carvers today are wildlife artists, until the middle of the 20th century, carved ducks were working decoys, a tool of the hunter to attract his prey.
Hunters have used decoys way before the birth of Christ and have continued to do so on a regular basis in one form or the other since that time.
Wooden decoys had to be well made in order to stand up to saltwater and brackish water of Louisiana bays, as well as the movement of the tide. With passage of the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty in 1918, which outlawed the use of live lures, demand for carved decoys soared. Until the 1930s, carvers created decoys for their own use. But with increased demand for decoys, carvers began to create decoys that were artistically appealing, anatomically correct, while also serving the hunter's purpose on the water. Following World War II, inexpensive plastic decoys served hunters' purposes just as well as the carved wooden decoys of before. While these carved decoys were retired from active service from the hunt, they became rare, collectible works of art. By the 1960s, the carving and collecting industry had emerged. Native Americans used decoys as long ago as 500 BC. Today, without a doubt, the most commonly used waterfowl decoys are duck decoys. Duck hunters find that a few decoys and a good duck call will guarantee a successful day of hunting in the blind. Decoys have evolved from still wooden silhouettes to motorized swimming and spinning wing models. Today, motorized decoys are so effective that their use has been banned in some states and restricted to specific periods during hunting season in others. Today, this endangered culture and art form is still alive and well in Louisiana. Perhaps our most celebrated master carvers are names with international appeal, such as Brunet and Vizier.
Oh, well, you know, it means everything. You're going to leave part of your legacy behind. You know, material things deteriorate, but memories last forever.
Well, it is. It is. We're the only family of carvers who has 3 world champions in the family, which is really nice, really incredible. And it all started from my dad, and Jude and I followed in his footsteps. You know, it was a great advantage to make a living as a carver, having the Brunet name behind you, but you still had to produce. You still had to come up with quality work, or the name wouldn't have meant anything. So having our birds in the museum in Salisbury, Maryland, in the Ward Museum, all together, at the one time, there were 18 champions. 18 championships had transpired, and we had 9 of the championships. We had half of all the pieces in the display case. So they photographed the 3 of us together, and it's still hanging there in the museum. That's really awesome. It's very humbling and inspiring when you go there, and then people from around the world go there and see it, and they hear about the Cajun carvers, and it's just a real special thing to be involved with. And hopefully we'll keep on the tradition till we can't carve anymore.
Today, you'd never find a carved decoy bobbing on the water to attract prey for a hunter. These carved birds are family heirlooms, prized pieces of decoy collections, and another small taste of Louisiana's great hunting history. All right! Thank y'all. Thank you so much. Y'all, that's Those Oliviers right there. Give them another big hand. Thank y'all so much. Huh? Great job, y'all. Great job. Wow, decoys. You know, when I grew up, decoys were just some plastic things you threw in a sack and you carried over your shoulders. To think that they have evolved, I should say, through the ages evolved into works of art that's worthy of museums and world competitions, absolutely unbelievable. And these guys right here had a lot to do with it. I want to introduce some of the most famous, if not the most famous, certainly 3 world champions of decoy making. Tan Brunet right here, and his 2 sons. His 2 sons, Jett and Jude Brunet right here. Thank y'all so much for being here. Absolutely. Jude, what are you carving over there? That's the biggest thing I've ever seen, huh?
This is a full-size swan made out of 1 solid block of Tupelo gum.
1 block. Now, normally that's unheard of because the wood would have to be so long that you'd have to maybe carve the head separately.
Exactly. Usually people add on the heads, but Dad started the tradition of 1 piece, and we're
and Tupelo gum, right?
Yes, sir.
Are y'all shocked at my overall knowledge of decoy making, huh? Huh? Absolutely. Y'all should be. You should be stunned, huh? Yeah. Jack of all trade and master of none, right? Huh? Well, anyway, just absolutely fantastic family. And right next to him, the author of one of the great books that chronicle all of the decoy carvers, Charles Frank, right there. Right there, Charles. How you doing, Charles? And Roger Bourgeois, who has a great collection at the Terrebonne. Do we call that the museum, or what do we call the place in Terrebonne?
It's actually the Terrebonne Folklife
Terrebonne Folklife Culture Center. I'm much more an expert on decoy making than names of folk centers, as you probably noticed. Anyway, welcome to all of you. Thank you so very much here. And we also have some guys back here with a bunch of decoys. Tan, who are these guys?
Oh, these are all some old collectors. And
some old collectors.
Well, they've been collecting quite a few years.
Oh, okay.
You know, we're 30-some-odd years into the New Orleans Gulf South Championship, and we have a club there.
Okay, Tan, this show is only 30 minutes. All right, y'all, let's talk about our first dish first, because you probably hadn't noticed this is a cooking show. You probably hadn't noticed that. I'm going to start today. Are you familiar with the Pouldeau?
Oh, yeah. Chicken of the water.
Pouldeau. Poule, chicken in French, and dough, water. Chicken of the water. Now, why this is called a chicken of the water, I have no clue. So take a look at it. Now, does that look like anybody in here? I mean, you cook. You've been to the store. You've seen chicken, right? Huh? Pam, you've seen chicken. This look like one of them? Thank you, baby. Anyway, it's one of the great. In fact, the Catholic Church actually changed this bird to a fish, right? Because it ate fish.
You could eat it on Friday.
On Friday, when the Catholics could not eat meat, they could eat pouldeau. Now, you might think that's funny, but it's not. The church forgave us, and we could go out and eat all. I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic. I love pouldeau. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So anyway, this is a great dish. You know what I love? Some dirty rice with it. We would make gumbo. It's mainly a bird for gumbo. That's what it's mainly about. So I already have some cut here, but the way I've done it, I put it in milk first. Now, why a chicken of the water would go into milk for 48 hours, I don't know. But I guess the lactic acid kind of tenderizes it and all that and becomes really nice and tender. I take it out here, I dry it, I season it with salt, pepper, granulated garlic, and into the pot I go, and this is what a pouldeau looks like after it's brown. Okay? Oh, yeah, so I'm going to make so while I'm putting my vegetables, onion, celery, bell pepper, garlic in here, Tan, how long have you been carving and how did you get started?
I'm 71 and a half years old. I've been carving since I'm 13.
71, okay.
And I still have the decoys. This is one of them.
Yeah? Well, that's one of the first ones you did?
Right.
Huh?
Yes, and I won the World Championship with a pair of pintails. We also have 9 different pairs in the museum at the World, at the Ward Foundation in Salisbury, Maryland.
So all 3 of you actually have a championship carving in the Ward Museum in Maryland,
They got each at 2 and I have 5.
Can you imagine a carving family that has 3 people, dad and 2 sons? Let's give these guys a hand. They deserve it, huh? Absolutely, huh? Now, just for my own records here, have y'all ever carved a pouldeau?
Oh, yeah.
You carved one? Huh? You carved a pouldeau?
Me too. Oh, yeah.
But they're good eating. Oh, really good eating. Especially on Friday, huh?
The golfers never learned that.
The dolphins.
The golfers. They walk all over the house.
That's right. They do. Well, I thought you said dolphins.
One little secret about a pouldeau decoy is if a duck sees a pouldeau decoy, he likes it.
It's gone or he likes
it?
No,
he comes.
No, why? Because
it's
food.
safe.
Safe. Because nobody's going to shoot a pouldeau.
No.
They better not land where I grew up. They better never land where I grew up. I can tell you that. This was Christmas dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Look where we at. No, this was Christmas dinner when family came or friends came. This is what we ate.
Lord, yeah.
I'll tell you what, we were, well, I shouldn't say we were really poor. We did have an outhouse. I mean, we did have an outhouse. Some of our family in the bayous didn't, some of our family. We were. Okay, so now I put the duck stock in here. This is going to come to a rolling boil. It takes how long to tenderize a pouldeau?
Couple of hours.
Couple hours for sure, because it is a little tough. And people are always saying it tastes fishy because it eats fish.
Got to learn how to do it.
You got to learn how to do it.
My mother used to have it on a slow fire, and she'd have a little pot of hot water. She'd just put a little water in it.
Make a little onion gravy.
And it would sizzle, and then she'd...
Man, Tan, I can see it. I can see it.
And then she had Creole dressing with that.
You know the name of this dish?
What?
Old Woman Down the Bayou Pouldeau Stew.
Yeah.
Old Woman Down the Bayou Pouldeau Stew. That's the name of it. Say it. Old Woman Down the Bayou Pouldeau Stew. You're really great. You're great. This is what it looks like when it's done right here. Y'all take a look at it in the platter. We're going to serve it. You said she served it over rice. We're going to serve it over a little yellow rice with peas in it. Oh, yeah. Look how nice it looks right here, right? Now, I've never known a Cajun family to actually serve pouldeau over yellow rice with peas in it. That's way too affluent for our neighborhood. But it looks very nice. It sets the pouldeau off, I thought. Huh?
Yeah.
Very nice. So, y'all, a couple of weeks ago, I went out to Cameron and went out to Grosse Savanne. And there at that beautiful Grosse Savanne Lodge, we cooked a little ham made out of goose and duck breast. I want y'all to take a look at this. Today we're at beautiful Grosse Savanne Lodge, and and I'm standing here in this beautiful marshland with Karl Zimmerman, who's the marketing manager of this beautiful property. Now, Grosse Savanne, what exactly does that mean in English?
In English, Grosse Savanne means big pasture.
And now I know this beautiful lodge has been rebuilt at least, I'm going to say, 3 times due to hurricane damage, right?
Yes, for Hurricane Rita and Ike, we rebuilt after both of those.
Well, what a beautiful place this is. Now, what I'm doing here today, I'm doing duck ham. I don't know if you've ever had duck ham before, have you?
Don't believe I
Oh,
have.
what a great dish. What I'm going to do, first of all, I need to make a little marinade because I have some of the hams already marinated. But let me show you what I did. I took some curing salt, which is brown sugar and curing salt that you can buy in any store. I'm going to add some hot pepper flakes, a little bit dried thyme, a little bit peppercorns are going to go into it as well, and then some beautiful pickling spice that you can buy. All of these things you can buy in every store, every grocery store aisle. And then I'm putting some Louisiana cane syrup into it as well. So the cane syrup is going to be stirred around in there. Now this has become a great marinade for this duck breast, and the duck breast has been peeled right off. I'm going to put it down in here. I normally put it in a plastic bag and put it in the refrigerator up to 48 hours. And of course, this is what I have right here. Now I'm going to, I want to smoke it, but I like to kind of flash it first. So I'm going to put it onto the barbecue grill like this, just to put some marks in it. Of course, the sugar cure is gone all the way through. When you cut through it, it's going to look just like a ham. So I'm putting it on like this. I have some, as you can see, that's been sitting on the grill for quite a while. It's been sitting here for about 5 or 6 hours in the smoke. You can see how beautiful it is. So normally I would take the duck ham and slice it and serve it over some nice hot grits, or you can just use it as an appetizer or an hors d'oeuvre. In fact, I have 4 hungry people waiting upstairs ready to taste this, and I have a chef up there too. So you ready to go do it?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a walk up. I'll come back and get those. Okay, everybody, are you ready?
We are ready.
This is a duck ham that just came off of your beautiful barbecue pit right out on the lake out there, and we have a nice little Cabernet Sauvignon jelly, a little sauce on the top over spicy grits, and I hope y'all enjoy it. That's a ham made out of the breast of duck. Y'all try it and tell me what you think.
Oh, we will, man.
Perfect with that red wine too. All right, everybody, those Oliviers, keep going for them, keep going for them. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. All right. That was a great package over at Grosse Savanne when we went out there to cook the duck ham, and most people tasting it respond the same way. This does not taste like any duck or game. It tastes exactly as a slice of ham would, and the reason for it is we've converted it to a ham using the pickling spice that you saw us making it. So y'all try that back home, especially when you're looking for way, or in the audience, you can try it that way too, because it's easy to make and it gives us another alternative for using game, which is very important. If you kill it, you eat it. That's what we say. Y'all, I'm going to do a really nice Cassolet here, which is famous in game cooking. I'm going to use 2 or 3 different kind of meats. But first of all, I want to, we had mentioned Charles just a minute ago, writing, just chronicling the life of so many of the Carvers in Louisiana in your book. How did you start that project?
Well, I thought, I read a book by Joel Barber, who was the icon of writers on duck decoys. He wrote the first one, in which he called duck decoys floating sculpture. And he said he'd never found any good Louisiana decoys. And I knew that the reason for this was that he was in contact with the elitist group of hunters that he would visit with, and they all used guides. But most Louisiana hunters carved their own decoys and hunted over their own decoys in a spread that they had for years in the family. And my pleasure was writing 5 of my 6 books about these people who were the foundation of Louisiana's duck decarving renaissance. And it's been a great pleasure to call attention to so many of these little people who had never gotten any attention before in one of my books about the men and women who founded the renaissance of the duck decoy in Louisiana.
Now, what is the name of the book? I was thumbing through it this morning.
The last one I wrote was Voices from the Bayou, which is a compilation of interviews that I had done with hunters and carvers throughout a 30-some-odd year period.
Well, I think one of the great things you've done, you just mentioned it, is that not only have you thrown the spotlight on our famous carvers who are in museums and who have been awarded great titles, but you've gone after just the common man out there who's carved decoys, just the little guys out there as well. You've chronicled them
absolutely.
in the book. 5
of the 6 books I've written are about these little people who had never gotten any attention. And some of the funniest stories of how the reaction of just a mention of their name in one of my books.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
It made them famous.
No, absolutely. I can understand that because never having been written about, I know that. I mean, I watch some of the cooking shows. And then, Roger, I mean, we talked a little bit about the museum, and just quickly again, the purpose is it just house local collections, or what is the purpose of the Folklife Center?
John, it has several purposes. One, it has a decoy collection that you featured in some of your footage. Has an antique tool collection. More important than that, though, we continue to teach a lot of the crafts.
That's right, you do.
We have 2 gentlemen right back here,
no,
a son in Navarre and Mr. Hebert, who teach kids.
Yeah, so y'all actually teach carving at the Folklife Center during the week, which is fantastic as well. So I want to thank y'all for the great work that you do in preserving that art. The Cassolet requires all different types of meats, and normally in France we have the duck, the venison, game birds like quail, always sausages, the boar sausages, the deer sausages, smoked meats like this. In Louisiana, we do the pork andouille would go into it. And always, something that I know impresses every one of you here, we take the duck legs and we cook them in duck fat until we get this wonderful confit. See all that fat? People absolutely love fat, whether you admit it or not, huh? I know all you closet fat eaters out there. Okay, let me show you what we're going to do here. We're going to start off by filling the cassolet with beans. Cassolet always has beans, and in Louisiana, we cook our beans with all of this wonderful smoked meats. So, Jett, while I start to put on all of the boar and venison that's already been simmered, and you ought to smell this. I could make a sandwich with this right now. A mixed meat po' boy, I would call it. Look at that. Jett, tell us a little bit about the competition. How do you get into it while I'm layering this?
Well, I'll tell you what, back from the beginning, carvers, like they were talking about, hunters carve their own decoys, like my dad's own rig here from when he was a teenager.
Right.
But then came along the plastic decoys in the 60s, where the now wooden decoys became obsolete. But some of the better carvers were true artists and kept carving these pieces, even though they weren't needed to function as tools anymore.
Right.
But they just had this beautiful feel about them and look about them, and they were works of art. So someone decided, man, you know what, we need competitions and maybe decide who's the best at carving these birds, because it's always been talked about of what this guy does this special work and this other guy's great. Well, let's see. So these competitions sprouted out around the world, and the headquarters being in Ocean City, Maryland.
And that's why the Ward Museum is there, and they conduct the search and also the competition.
Exactly. The museum is in Salisbury, Maryland.
What are they looking for when they're looking for world winners?
There's specific categories. What we made our champions in, what we won our championships in, particularly were decorative decoys, floating decorative decoys.
Right.
A bird like this, highly detailed, very realistic.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And all 50 states and foreign countries. I know that even Russia is involved in it every year. So tough competition.
Japan,
now, I know you've taken some of your world-winning decoys and you've converted them, and I'll tell everybody a little bit about this. He's actually gone and made models of them. They are available. And I know there's probably a website or something that people can find out more about getting your world decoys in some of the plastic versions. Is there a website right away?
Yes, greatcarvers.com.
Greatcarvers.com. Is that easy or what, y'all? Greatcarvers.com. All right, you see what I'm doing here? I've got all the beans on here. Just very, very quickly, y'all, I'm going to throw the cassolet. Here you go. I'm going to throw the... Go ahead, say it again. Huh? All right, right there. I'm going to put the duck right on top. And I want to show you what this looks like. It's going to go into a 300... I need more fat. It's going to go into a 350-degree oven. It's going to take about 4 hours. But... Tan, take a look at that. as we oh, look at that. Look. Y'all, thanks so much for being here with us today. We appreciate it so much. And y'all, thanks for joining us in the swamps of Louisiana. And remember that man's love affair with hunting is not about the kill or the skill. It's all about the fabulous feast after the hunt. We're going to see you right here next time on A Taste of Louisiana. We're eating Cassolet. Thank y'all so much, everybody. Y'all come on up. Come on up, everybody. Come on up here.
To purchase the After the Hunt cookbook by Chef John Folse, an After the Hunt t-shirt or program DVD, call the number on your screen.
Well, I swear, if I get y'all a little part here. Every time I kiss you, I'm good at cooking, I'm not good at serving. There you go, right there. You know you're wearing those uptown high heels. Why? I can tell from the giant steps you walk through the fire. All right.
Funding for After the Hunt with Chef John Folse is brought to you by the Baton Rouge Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Day is dawning on the Mississippi River and the sun is shining on Baton Rouge. Attractions, shopping, food, and Southern hospitality you know and love. Go BR and go brighter. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Our mission is to tell Louisiana's story to the world. And by the Louisiana Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism. Vacation planning guides are available at louisianatravel.com. You wait all year for your vacation. Don't sleep through it.